people. I call them as a majority, going to understand the minority. I call them as a blind. So usually the blind are the minority. So in everywhere in this world, it's other way around. Particularly the minority are fighting for their rights, but here it's totally different. Thank you very much for organizing this sort of a event to understand us. I've been a blind person. I think I should salute you all for that. I remember a couple of months ago, or about 3 to 4 months ago, Mr. Yasendra contacted me and said that he got to know me through one of his friends, and he had read my blog as well, and he said he's planning to have this sort of event, and if I wish I could come and deliver my life story with the audience or with the participant of this event in order to create an empathy towards blind through my speech. To be honest, when I first got the call, I had no idea what the entrepreneurs organization is. Then I just did a Google search and found out this is a wonderful opportunity for me, because I thought there would be some leading businessmen who are decision makers. So then that would be helpful for our community in the long run. Then I gave my consent and I came here. So basically, today what I have to do is to speak about myself. When I looking back, I think I have two lives. One is sighted life, another thing is the blind life. Looking back, when analyzing it, I think my blind life is more successful than the sighted life. I will say why during the course of my speech. I hope you will understand why I said so. I am planning to deliver my speech. I briefly touch my sighted life bit and my military life and the injury and the extent of damage and how I was rehabilitated and my achievements and what I am doing right now or at present, right? Okay, well, I was born in Dankotu area, grew up in that area and studied at Joseph Voss College, Venapur. And my childhood dream was to join army because my father was an army officer, mother was a teacher. With that background, I applied the army and got selected, and I had received my training at Military Academy Diyathalawa. Military training is all about to train us to handle pressure. In fact, it had helped me really to get adjusted to the blind life. It was 2-year course and full of excitement, full of pain, full of fun as well. But eventually, it made us a really strong character. That's why everybody thinks military training is essential for everybody, right? After the passing out, I was attached to Singha Regiment. This is one of the leading infantry battalion in Sri Lanka. Subsequently, I was transferred to, or the posted to Jaffna, where I served few months. Then we were brought back to Vaunia area to do few operations. Then the government, I think at that time, that was in 1998, government took a decision to open up a supply route to Jaffna by road. That is called A9 road. In those days, Vaunia and in between Elephant Pass and Vaunia was under LTT clutches. So government wanted to rescue that area and made a supply route to Jaffna. So we started our operation from Valioya. That is that operation called Jayasiku. Some of you may remember it, I don't know. That was about 20 years ago. So we operated in the Mullaitivu jungles, finally reached Mankulam. Mankulam is a very tactically very vital ground because it connects north to south and east to west. Mannar to Mullaitivu, Jaffna to Colombo. So LTT tried their level best to protect that. So eventually we stuck at that place couple of months, but later all-out operation was planned in 3 divisions, and I'm telling you this because it was the battle that I was injured, right? Then that particular day, our defense line and the LTT defense line not that apart, nearly about 100-150 meters maximum. So we started our move at midnight and cross to our defense line, and we had to launch an assault at the dawn. So somehow we managed, and with all fire, with the heavy fire, all the artillery, armor, and all small arms firing, and the helicopter gunships are firing, and the Kafis, MiGs and everything were bombing. So while the fire was going on, we managed to capture the defense line through some casualties. I once witnessed from my own eyes that people are dying and injuring. Somehow we captured the line. I remember I jumped into a trench because that's the way that we should protect ourselves, and try to observe what was going around. That's all I remember. That's the last moment that I could remember in my fighted life. So I don't know what had happened. I was transferred to Colombo National Hospital. I was in ICU for a prolonged period. What I knew was, actually luckily I didn't get any pain because I was completely unconscious. And when I got the conscious, I realized my entire face was covered, my hands, I couldn't move anything. I just remember, but most of the time I was sleeping. I think I was under heavy painkillers. So I'll just tell you what had happened to me. My both eyes were damaged. My right ear is deaf. My teeth was damaged, fingers damaged, shoulders, everything was damaged. We know we have 5 senses. People talking about breaking one sense and enjoying the meals today. So human have 5 senses, and my all 5 senses were damaged. So I'm not totally blind, partially deaf, and my other senses also damaged. You can see my fingers are damaged, so everything is damaged. So that's a sad story. You can imagine how difficult that was. As I was in a hospital 7 months at one stretch. Can you believe it? So I was injured in September 1998 and was discharged from the hospital in April following year. When I go back home, it was the saddest day of my life, because I left that home at the age of 23 as a fully able young boy and returned home as a fully dependent, totally down, completely deformed character. I couldn't do anything by myself. Everything was hell. I was helped for everything. Eating, shaving, to take me to the washroom, for everything. My father and mother always helped me. As that time went by like that, little by little, and I was really frustrated. I didn't want to live because I couldn't do anything. I just stayed a couple of weeks at home, then a couple of weeks at Army Hospital. That routine was really put me down. When I was at Army Hospital, people are talking about the Ranaviru Sevana. And upon my request, I felt the interest and go there and learn something up until my parents leave. Thereafter, I will take a decision on my life. Because my parents had suffered a lot, so I couldn't give more burden to them. That's what I just postponed the taking decision of my life. Anyway, when I was transferred to Ranaviru Sevana, I felt that I had the severest of disability. But when I went there, I was able to talk to a few other soldiers who had injuries. Actually, in few weeks' time, I realized nothing had happened to me. There are many soldiers who are paralyzed from the neck, no limbs at all, deaf and blind. It is very sad. Then I realized, though I'm not undermining my disability, but I felt so. I think it was a positive move to me. And first, then my rehabilitation part was started. First, I was given the white cane, and that officer asked me to treat it as your wife. Take it wherever you go because it shows your part. So that was my first rehabilitation part. Then meantime, I started learning the white cane. In few weeks' time, I was able to learn it to a certain extent, and I was able to walk alone. So that was a great feeling, because I was stranded on a bed for a while, about a couple of years, and having been able to walk few steps was a great feeling. So in addition to in addition to the rehabilitation work carried out by the Ranawira Sewana, we were sent to Council for the Blind. That was in Slave Island then, now in Rajagiri, I suppose. And there we learned about chess, braille, typing, English, white cane, and more importantly, we were able to meet civilian blind people also. So to get their tips and tricks for our life, how to overcome life challenges, and that was really useful for us. And further to that, they had a talking book library. The talking book means all books are recorded into cassette doses, no MP3s, no nothing, no CDs. Everything was in cassettes. So whenever we come every Saturday for that class, and I borrowed books every week, at least couple of books. So that was my reading. What a routine at Ranawira Sewana. Whatever we learned from the council put into practice at the Ranawira Sewana, and also I had a walk in the morning and listening to talking books. I think, as I remember, I have read more than 100 books in my stay at Ranawira Sewana. It was because when I was at Army Hospital or at home, I couldn't do anything. I was just stranded on my bed. I couldn't do anything, just to listen to the radio. But I was able to do many things once I went to Ranawira Sewana. So that's why I say Ranawira Sewana is the place where I changed my life completely. Then at the council from the council I got to know that they have computer training. Before me, only couple of guys have learned it, and I informed it to the authority at Ranawira Sewana. They arranged it for me, and I had never used a computer when I was sighted. Those days computers are not widely available as well. I have seen it, but I never even switched it on even. So little by little they taught me how to use a computer, and then we have to get used to the synthetic sound. Whatever we do, it gives the voice feedback. That's how we operate the computer. So then I could write and read. Whatever we want, even we'll say a phone number, we can write it on the computer and get it done. If not that, I have to depend on someone else. So that was a turning point of my life, learning about computer. Basically, it was around the basic Windows commands, little bit of Microsoft Word, and bit of Excel. No internet was available, only the dial-up connection, but it was very, very slow by then. So I bought my own computer, and a software was very expensive. In 2001, I think it was around 120,000 rupees, or a very expensive one. One of our general once met me and he asked if there anything that let him know. Then I asked him I informed him about that software, and he got it done through Mr. Rajapaksa of DSI Group. So that was a really good help, and I installed it and tried to improve my IT knowledge little by little. Those days, since internet wasn't available, I got down all Britannica and Carta encyclopedias, and when somebody is blind, only he realizes how important the information. When he doesn't get them, because I used to get them when I was sighted, but when it is absent, then we feel the emptiness. So I fulfilled my emptiness through those channels, and then the internet came, then I mastered the computer subject and everything. So once my rehabilitation period is over, because of my attitudes and skills, then I was enrolled into the Ranawira Sewana staff as an IT officer. So that was another turning point of my life. Because as I said earlier, Ranawira Sewana is a wonderful place because you get a lot of opportunities. So in addition to the administration part of the IT section, I start training other blind soldiers and make them, groom them, and console them and clear their doubts. And certainly, because I was a role model for them. Because I had no one to follow. I had to find own ways of doing everything. There was no one to follow those days. But I very happily, I helped other blind soldiers and make their life better as well. So meantime, then that was around all my rehabilitation part. Then I'll speak bit of my sports career. When I was at Ragam, I met an officer, now he's a brigadier. Having learned that I had done athletics during my school time, he insisted me to start blind sports. Actually, I have not done any physical activity since my injury. But then our doctor, Ranavison doctor also was there at that get together. He took me a few days later, he insisted me to, okay, let's go to the gym and try. He took me to the gym and did a bit of cardio exercises. Oh my goodness, I almost fainted. I almost fell down and fainted. Then I realized how weak I was. It was after about 3 years since my injury. So little by little, but from the following day onwards, continuously I went to the gym and improved my physical standards. Then I was handed over to one of physical training instructor, and he took me nearby ground and asked me to walk few steps alone. And then he clapped from the front and asked me to follow him, because he wanted to build the confidence within me and improve my balance. Then they say that there's a likewise we practice. Then we started running. The running usually done with blind people running with a guide runner. That's the international rule. We hold each other. Holding means not tightly. We just run because for our confidence that is there. We just running with each other, and then then few months later the army sport meet came up. It was held in army ground where the Shangri-La Hotel is now. I took part. The first event was 100. First few heats were there, and at the final I was second, and it was my first medal. That was silver medal, right? Then came up the long jump event. Actually, it was one of my pet event when I was schooling. I had no issues. I ran and won. I had a best jumps, and I won the event with a gold medal. It was my first gold medal. Thereafter, rest is history. Then few months later, the national SWAT meet came up. It was at the Sugadasa Stadium. I took part in all 3 events, 100, 200 long jump, all 3 events, and I won all 3 events with new national records and judged as the best blind athlete of the year. And also my photographs were published in newspapers, and my 100-meter final was shown in Rupani News, and my parents were very happy, and even I was really happy because, and then a couple of year later, I think again Asian Para Games came. That was in Malaysia. So I was a member of that team, but I couldn't win a medal. In another 4 years later, I got another chance to go to Asian Para Games. That was in China. So in 2010, then I thought this enough is enough. So I was a bit old by then, around 36 years. I thought I couldn't be, no chance of going further, and I say goodbye to the athletics. That is, I'm telling you briefly because this 20-year story put into 20 minutes it's a very daunting task. Anyway, if you all want further details, you all can go to my blog and refer them, right? Then I'll talk about the archery. Because of my activities and all, I was a very popular character at Ranavira Sevana and treated me as a role model. So whoever, when a figure comes to Ranavira Sevana, because many people visit Ranavira, it was during wartime. One day I met a official from Royal Navy, met a Royal Navy captain. He is on an official visit, and then he was introduced to me. And when he mentioned that he's from St. Dunstan, I asked, "Are you doing archery?" He was wondering how I knew that. Then he asked, then I said, "Okay, I'm always surfing the net and looking for what are the new developments for blind, and I found it in your website. And when you mentioned your name, then I came to my mind. That's why I said Kela." Then he was really impressed and gave his contact, and then we were in contacts, and I was sending him once in a while emails. Then a few months later, I got an invitation mentioning that there's an archery training program, and if you wish, I can join them. So I got it everything arranged. It was in, and one of my batchmates sponsored me for the article, and I went to England via Doha, Qatar. Can you believe a blind person traveling abroad alone? So I went, and somebody came to receive me at the Heathrow. They took me to the center was at Brighton, at the coastal. It's a wonderful place, filled with, that center is for all blind ex-servicemen. So there were some soldiers who were in World War II and Argentina War, Iraq War, and also the elderly people, all blind people are there. It's a wonderful place. Then I was introduced to the archery club. Then they gave me a bow and arrow. It's about 10 days. That training was there about 10 days. And I have seen archery in the SARC games and all, but I never touched the bow and arrow. But even that is a great feeling, and I continue with that. I learned it bit. I was the youngest there, and all other guys are very old fellows, but they all treated me well, and they gave me a bow and arrow, and I came back to Sri Lanka and start doing that also. Then there I had the opportunity of doing air rifle shooting also. That is, it is expensive and we cannot afford. Then I just thought, just forget about it. I just did that. That's it. That's just to mention about it. So that is my archery. Then I'm the only person who has done it in Sri Lanka. That is, since it is not that popular in Sri Lanka, and the all equipment are expensive, people are not interested to get on with the archery. So I'm doing it once in a while whenever I feel it. If not that, there's no competition in Sri Lanka. And another thing is all competitions are in Europe, so it's not possible to afford like me and all. So I just keep it aside as a hobby. That's it. Then I start playing. Then I moved out from Ranagura 7 to Kurunegala, Abhimansala, and there was a training program for chess. That is not for blind, but all others. But I also just felt interest and went to attend to that program, and I realized I should give it a try, because that time I had stopped playing athletics and all. I should do something for my betterment. Then I learned the chess game little by little. I learned the openings, middle game, and games, tactics, puzzles. I followed some games downloaded from the internet, and I played with a computer program that is called Chess Edit that has been designed for blind. And little by little, I improved the game. Then came up the army meet. Every year the army is conducting chess tournament. That tournament I took part. They have separate events for the able bodies and the handicapped people. And the handicapped people, I think my position was around 12. But I kept on playing and improving the game. Then the following year, I was able to win the championship by beating all sighted people. I was the only blind person. Then in few months' time, luckily for me, the Asian Para Games came. That was in Indonesia, and they have included blind chess into the Asian Para Games. Then there was a selection meet, I won. I was representing totally blind category, and there's another guy is partially sighted. So we both went with the Sri Lankan team. There I won we played about 7 games, and was able to win only 2 games and drawn 1. So that is a great achievement, right? That's all about my sports career. And I'll just tell you about my married life, right? I met a girl through a friend of mine when I was at Ragama. It was just a friendship earlier on, but after about 2 years' time, it turned into a love affair, and we decided to marry. But when it was informed to her parents, they didn't like it. They say it's a disgrace to the family marrying to a blind person. But we were stuck. We were firm on our decision. We married. We took a military wedding at the army camp, Ambepussa. All my relatives come, but none of her, not even the parents, no one turned up. only couple of her friends. So I don't blame them. That is quite fair. Even you want, if your son or daughter going to get married to a blind person, I don't think you would agree. So that is quite natural, because they don't know who we are, what we are capable of. Now they are in good terms with me. Now they are coming every day to my home. That's all right. Everything settled down. So then I had a good, very decent wedding ceremony, and I took her to a Hunnas Falls for our honeymoon, and we had about 7 days honeymoon trip, and just came back. And then a couple of years later, we had our first daughter, and another 5 years later, I got another baby boy. I have two sons. I have son, daughter, and son. So that is all my family life. Now I am. Meantime, this corona thing came up. So I should now tell about what I am doing right now at present. Right? When corona thing came up, I stuck at home. But though I am blind or not, I am the breadwinner of my family. My only income is my salary. So I have saved some money and put them in fixed deposit. But with the corona came, all the interest rates came down. I think you all may know. Early it was around 13, 14, 15%, but later it came down to 4.5%. That I was wondering what to do. That was the only security that I had, because I can't earn other than that, other than my salary. So I was thinking what to do. And I was thinking of the share market as well, but I have never done it. I have not. I did A-level. I did maths for my A-levels. I am not good at. I am not exposed to accounting or anything. So then I just searched the net and found out there are some website teaching, or the YouTube channels that are teaching share market things. So I little by little learned, and when I spoke to few people, and they're all negative, very negative. They say, oh, don't go, it's kind of a gambling. Right? Then when I mentioned that to another blind person, he's in Australia doing his masters. He said, I tried, I have lost, don't do that, but I suggest you to invest in unit trust. So I tried with the NDB, and that was fine before me. Then I put some money there and tried, because it was quite easy, because everything can be done through emails and phone call. But you get a fixed deposit that you have to look after that certificate and all. It's very tedious, but that thing is very fine, because I can check my balance every day through online and everything. That was fine. But back on my share market is always there. So, but I learned. Then that was at the best time, because market was really down because of the COVID. That was May 2020. But I opened up, I found, then I searched the net and found a broker in Kurunegala area. He's the only one. I spoke to Revant also, this matter, he advised me, but his broker company is not in Kurunegala. Then I thought it's better to go with the one that in Kurunegala. So I opened up a CDS account and invested some. I had no idea whatsoever, but I just put some money and bought some shares. That time market was really down, Expo share was around 2 rupees now. Unfortunately, I sold around 350. Had I kept that, I could have joined with your club without any issue. But I still enjoying it. I know what Disha Nayaka, what Dhammika Peras comparison. Now I'm learning, and I could easily. Then I learn little bit and learn every day. I updating how the company is doing. I had to learn everything. What the EPS, why company is issuing shares, what the DBS, how the net asset value, what the PA ratio, everything I checked and updated and make a Excel sheet and bought few shares. luckily, since last 2020 May, up to now it's a bull market. But knowing the fact that there would be some bear market also, so I'm very careful, but doing some trading, I've found some fundamentally strong shares and put them with the view of getting some dividend, and also doing some trading as well with the LLC group, doing marvelous things at the moment. So I was doing that. So that's a really great thing, but even for everything I had to find my own way, because no one else to follow. I used that platform that is not accessible at all. But I was looking what to do. When I went through the site, I found a link called mobile. Just click and see. Oh my goodness, it's working really well. I could place my orders, could amend the orders, I could see the bid and ask, and everything I can manage by myself. So I really like it, because if I do any other thing, I have to depend on others. But here, I can do everything by myself. I can analyze the company, I can take my own decision, and even I don't talk to my broker even, because they always advise some. They only, when the price goes up, only they advise us to buy that. So fundamental things can be done, but technical part was the most difficult part, because I can't read the charts and all. There's the RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, all. But luckily I found another website called Investing.com. There you can get all the RSI levels and everything in figures. Though I can't see the chart, I know whether it is overvalue or undervalue, whether the RSI level is around 80s or 30s, 40s, and MACD line. Everything I update in the Excel sheet, and then I take a own decision. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I think it's a good thing. If I kept my money in the bank, I am not a rich man, but if I kept them in a fixed deposit, I earn only a little, and the inflation is around 8 to 9, and ultimately I'll be a loser. But now I earn about 20-30%. I think that is fine. There may be a person who earn about 1,000 times, but it's okay for my condition. I'm more than happy about my achievements. Okay, to summarize what I have said so far, for my success, there are two factors mainly affected or the helpful for me. One is the sighted assistance, and other thing is the effective use of the technology. Sighted assistance means in this world, everything has been designed. Everything is for sighted people. You say colors, beauty, sceneries, shapes, everything for sighted people. But for us, only sound. So, sighted assistance means when you look at us, what do you feel? At first instant, you may feel sympathy, but that is not enough. That is obvious. That's the way we have been groomed. But the biggest help that you all can do to say what you see, to describe what you see, simple. Don't think it's a difficult thing. There's a saying called a picture worth 1,000 words. So in other way, you may need 1,000 words to describe something, but don't think that deep. Just explain. I have seen this Colombo 20 years ago, but now it must be completely changed. If I ask someone, you may say, oh, how can I explain this? Yeah, there are so many developments. But don't think it is difficult. Because when I was in England, I stayed with a few Sri Lankan families. They took me around London. I was traveling in tubes. They took me to the Victoria Station, the Buckingham Palace, and the Downing Street where the Parliament is, and they explained the Downing Street, this is the Parliament, and this is the Westminster Abbey where the Diana and Charles got married, and they explained me like that. Then I have not seen them, but still in my memory. So those little words helps us a lot, because we also should live in this world. If you help us in that way, certainly we can live a happy world. And the the technology is so advanced these days. The digitalization, we are the most beneficiaries of the digitalization. If you send a printed letter that we are not in position to read, but if you send it in email, we can get it read. So, and there are a lot of apps that reads everything, a lot of standalone devices which read colors, to tell time, and there are a lot of items to facilitate us to minimize, get our disability minimized. So people are making things for us, so we are using them, and that is the technology. So for my success, I think so both things, particularly the sighted assistant and the technology, has helped me to minimize my disability. I know I have a big disability, but I manage it to bring to a very manageable level. Actually, at certain instances, I don't feel that I am blind. Particularly, I'm trading in the share market. I don't feel that I'm blind because I get all the Telegram channels and everything. I get news because I am following the sentiment, and take our own decision. Last few days it was palm oil plantation rally. Now today start aluminium rally. Day by day, different rallies. So we have to follow the trend and something, and to keep us engaged. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to my story. I hope you all are.
Shankar, you're getting a standing ovation, by the way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was absolutely inspirational. And I can't even find the light switch in the dark. I honestly don't know how you do the hurdles and the 100 meters. It's absolutely amazing. And the way you can trade the stock market and the way you picked up new skills, your mind is truly inspirational. Thank you for sharing your journey with us.